welcome everybody. My name's Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of May 24th, 2026, which is part of the long 3-day weekend. So we'll be seeing Memorial Day Monday. We'll be seeing a pretty big full moon in the sign of Sagittarius at the end of next weekend. So we have a lot going on as we get comfortable with the new perspective that is showing up for us this week as a result of maybe some eye-opening events that occurred in the week prior. So make sure you tune in every week so you can get all these little tidbits by clicking on that subscribe button. And when you do, you'll get notification, of course, as I post new content. And you can get my new content on a daily basis because I do pull a tarot card or an oracle card every single day. And I blend in with that message a little bit of the day's astrology as well. So also go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. Then you get all the written content that goes along with the recordings. And there's a plethora of information out there, including the full moon in Sagittarius article that goes along with this week's recording. So you want to make sure that you go out there and check it out and get a preview of it right now. But with that, I want to get us just jumping in and going. I'm traveling this week, so I wanted to make sure I get this recorded before I head out the door and have it ready for you, even though I'll be on the road. So with that, let us get started on Sunday, May 24th. So here we have a lot of change in the air because we've just seen Venus move into the sign of Cancer. We just saw Mars move into the sign of Taurus, and they did so in harmony with one another. So something about cooperation last week was really important. And now we are seeing that Mars energy, which should be helping us slow down a bit, get more connected with the earth, maybe get more connected with our finances, because of course Mars is in the sign of Taurus. It rules over money and the stock market. And in the sign of Taurus, which is an earth sign, the fiery Mars planet has to slow down, which it doesn't love. But today, as it speaks in harmony with the North and South Node, it is asking you to consider a change in direction. And maybe it's a change in job, maybe it's a change in financial institution, maybe it's a change in diet. All things are possible, but Mars is your motivation to make the change that fate is presenting to you today to consider. And of course, these energies are available, a few days before, a few days after. But this is when the aspect is most exact here on Sunday. And so there can be something during this 3-day weekend or holiday that you've been on that you have to consider changing directions. Maybe you're going to have to consider leaving to go home early because you want to avoid the traffic on the holiday on Monday. Whatever it is for you, just know that fate is stepping in and asking you to make this change. And it's a favorable change because this Mars energy is speaking in harmony with the South Node and the North Node. In a trine to the South Node, it says there's something from the past that you need to learn from or leverage that will help move you forward. So it's a fated day here on Sunday as we kick off the energy of change. And then we move into Monday. So welcome to Memorial Day, where of course we memorialize those who have made sacrifices for their country and the families who supported them as they did that as well. And these are great sacrifices, of course, that these countrymen have made. And we should probably take a moment to pause and think about those in the Middle East right now who are still putting their lives at stake for our freedoms. then on this day, we have a lot going on. And so perhaps there really is an opportunity for there to be a peace agreement today because of the fact that we have two big things going on. The sun in Gemini is squaring with the nodes. So this is a change in the way we were thinking about success. We can realize success in some area of our life in a different way. And fate, because it's connected to the north and south node, this time in a square, unlike the positive conversation with Mars, this is the sun, our ego self, squaring with the north and south node, saying, I'm going to have to take a hit to my ego. I'm going to have to walk back something I said, and to be successful, I have to do what I'm doing or think a different way or say something differently in order to get this moving forward again. So what helps you, so if you say, okay, I'm going to approach this differently, I have a whole new perspective, and this will be something around 4 degrees of Gemini in your chart, well, then the moon in Libra, so when the moon, your emotional self, is working in harmony with the sun, your ego self, that's great. Both of them are also speaking in harmony with Pluto. Power, change, transformation, community, coming together, doing something to make a difference. So there is a big opportunity today that you want to take advantage of. Now, the moon in Libra wants everybody to be treated fair. This wants justice for all, justice for the homeland, justice for the people. Pluto's in the sign that rules over communities and friend groups, work groups, connections, the internet. So there's a grand air trine when 3 planets are speaking in harmony with one another, and each one is in a trine, so 120 degrees away. So this is an opportunity. For it to be fully realized, we have to take action. We have to show up. We have to change our minds. We have to do what's right. We have to do what's fair and balanced for all involved. And the priority may need to be on the people, for the people, in order for this situation to change. And so watch what's going on in the Middle East, and the fact that this is an American holiday, what will be the actions that are happening with these other countries that highlight what this day is supposed to be about. So it'll just be one to be careful and cautious as we transition through this day. But if we're willing to make big changes, big opportunities will show up for us as well. Then we're going to move ahead. Not going to see a tremendous amount of change here on Tuesday, other than the moon has moved on, but there's still this energy between the sun and Pluto. Pluto in retrograde, Pluto that has us going within to consider this offer and if it really is best for us. And it could be the review of an old offer that we want to make some changes to, some changes that will benefit the people, not just this leader's ego. But there's still a chance, there's still an opportunity. But again, change is the best way to move whatever this is in your life forward. And there will be people around you that will help you come up with the solution. So you have to be willing to be open-minded and listening to them, and again, willing to change your mind in what you expected to be the outcome. There's something very different that you have to do. And remember, we've just been through Mars squaring Pluto, so that was a pretty volatile energy that was going on that may have been what made you wake up and made you realize that things are just going to escalate if you aren't willing to de-escalate things, change your mind, speak and think differently about what this conflict is. The cost to the people is too high to continue to do things the same way you've been doing them. And the people, right, can be your people, your friends, your community, but also for the collective, there's that same cost that is just becoming way too high, kind of like gas prices, and something needs to change. That's Tuesday. And then as we move forward to Wednesday, nothing is changing. We're just seeing space happening between the Sun and Uranus. So there's some more levity about the information that's coming out. It's not as shocking or surprising, and slowly making, space between Pluto and the Sun, between Pluto and Mars. So this is more about things starting to calm and settle down than continuing to escalate at this point. But then we have the moon move into the sign of Scorpio. So there can be things going on buried deep beneath the surface, deep beneath the waters, that we need to be aware of over these next several days. Speaking of the next several days, as we move ahead to Thursday, the moon that I was saying to be aware of, well, today it speaks in harmony with Venus. Now, this is a brief conversation, but it happens while both are also speaking to Saturn in the sign of Aries. So Venus and Saturn are squaring to one another. So this can be a conflict between mothers and old men, old leaders. There's some conflict there. Women's rights may be at risk. There may be conflicts between women and government leadership. But there's also other women who are stepping up to help whoever feels like they're being challenged or wronged. And that's the moon's help. So this is help that may even be happening in secrecy, but there's some deals being made that can be helping to resolve this conflict. And Saturn's restrictive, right? So there's something about Saturn restricting money that goes to families, for instance, could be something that's going on. And then there's some deals being made behind the scenes to overcome that or to compensate for that in some way. Now, this could be a woman who is in conflict with a male figure, and in order to resolve the conflict, they are going to settle whatever the conflict is about, maybe their looks, just saying. And the secret deal to resolve this issue won't be shared with the public, but there's likely a financial agreement happening in secret so that this case can be closed. So that is Thursday. Should be an interesting one in the news. And then as we move to Friday, this is when we have the South Node in Virgo making its in conjunction over to Neptune. So inconjunct is energy that's not vibing. It's difficult to figure out how to make these things work. So South Node in Virgo, old systems, old ways of exerting control over people. And then Neptune in Aries, a spiritual leader like the Pope, saying, those old systems aren't working anymore, and we have to make some changes. And so there could be, a pretty public argument that is about the old ways that need to change, that is coming up again for resolution. And then that moon's still in Scorpio. This time speaks in harmony with Jupiter in Cancer. And Jupiter's almost done with all of its retrograde review and is ready to move forward. So Jupiter expands on the moon in Scorpio, which is not happy here. So what it can do, though, is stir things up, the things that were hidden and kept secret, so that we can leverage what this is, or help us transform something that's fearful, transform power. There's a transformation, an emotional transformation that needs to happen today, and it will as a result of these two coming together. Maybe these two coming together is what is helping this Neptune person break these old systems apart and help to get rid of them. So then we get to move to Saturday. All right, so for some, this full moon happens on Saturday, and for others, because of how late in the evening the full moon occurs, it's actually early morning elsewhere. So East Coast, Europe, you're seeing this on the 31st. West Coast in the US, we're seeing this on the 30th. So we're just going to cover this as Saturday's energy. And then, of course, next week we'll have the look at the week ahead, which will already have included this full moon energy. So as usual, full moons bring things to completion. They bring closure. They bring something to fullness, right? Because the moon is now fully lit. There's nothing left to do, no work left to do. So it could have been 6 months ago that you set intentions with the new moon in Sagittarius, and now whatever those intentions were, whatever house this was in your chart, that's now ready to be fully realized. So as you notice, this is a full moon, which means endings, conclusions, and it happens at 9 degrees, another number that is associated with endings and closure as well. So there is something in this house ruled by Jupiter that is coming to a big ending, because Jupiter expands things. Now, Jupiter also brings blessings as long as you have been doing the right thing, right? Jupiter is a great benefic planet. It sees all the good potential. It's a very spiritual planet. That's why it and Neptune both share rulership of the sign of Pisces. So spiritual, artistic, very creative. And of course, Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the 9th house topics, foreign people, foreign places. So there could be something in a foreign country that's coming to completion today. So remember that grand air trine? And I said we had to take advantage of the opportunity. Well, now we see the opportunity, the big picture of what is possible. And so potentially a chapter is concluding and closing. And so maybe there is hope for things to come to some kind of a resolve in the Middle East. Now, the moon is alone in the sign of Sagittarius. The sun in Gemini, it's got Mercury there, but Mercury's getting ready to head on, and it has Uranus, but most of the energy from the sun in Gemini is fully focused on that moon in the sign of Sagittarius. So the planet that's making a positive aspect to this full moon, of course, is Saturn. So Saturn, an old ruler, is going to work in harmony with a foreign ruler to bring the plan, what structure you need, the deal, to help bring this to closure, right? So Saturn in Aries is all the rules for individuals that they need to follow in order for this big idea or adventure to come to completion. So there will be a mentor of some kind that helps you bring whatever this is across the finish line. And of course, we're going to break down whatever that is when we look at the house that this is happening in your chart. So that's some really great positive energy that's going on. The sun has moved on from its square with the nodes, but at the time of the full moon, Uranus is beginning to square with the nodes. So it's starting, and this is again surprise information, surprise agreements, surprise contracts, changing of the mind, innovative solutions. This could likely be a huge discussion about UFOs and aliens that we've been hearing a lot about in the preceding weeks. Now, will that be because we need a distraction from what else is going on? It's always possible, but there is the element of surprise, and fate is the one that has the wheel and is creating whatever these surprises are for us at the time of this full moon. And so that's the energy that we're working with. Is if you want to finish this, you might have to get creative in how you finish whatever this is for you during the time of the full moon. So that is probably the biggest elements of energy going on. A couple other supporting players, as I mentioned, of course, Mercury is in the sign of Gemini. It is almost done with its time here. Before it leaves, Mercury speaks in harmony with Chiron that is now at that critical 29th degree. So this is where you feel a lot of pressure to finish something, to heal a part of yourself, to heal your confidence, to speak up and speak out. So you will be rewarded. You will heal yourself by speaking up for others in particular at this time. And then we have the ruler. So Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, as I mentioned this week, it will almost be done. It's got to get back to 25 degrees of Cancer before its retrograde is done. But it won't really be done because later this summer, Mercury moves into the sign of Cancer and it follows Jupiter's footsteps. So there's the detail work that still needs to be done. But today, as Jupiter sits in the sign of Cancer at 23 degrees of the sign, it's really not making any difficult transits to any other planets. It is far away from the square that it's going to be making to Chiron, but maybe we're starting to get a feeling for what women and families are going to need to do in order to, heal from something that's been causing them pain. But that's a little ways away, but there can be a little bit of an undercurrent of that going on at this time as well. So let's just dive in and look at the individual sign breakdowns. But if you want some more details, go out and look at the write-up for the month, which is now the last day. Unbelievably, May is over. This year, woo! Next thing you know, we're going to be talking about Christmas. It's just that firehorse year. It is fast and furious. So you can also, of course, go out and read the article that I've written and posted out there for the full moon as well, just to get some more nuances into what might stand out for you in a different format than these recordings do. So with that, let us dive in and take a look at each sign and the area of your life that is being impacted by all of this energy. And you can consider that, and I'm not going to do it for every sign, but I'm going to do it for Aries. So you guys might want to all watch Aries, and then you can take a look at how this would work for your sign as well. But booking a reading with me is going to be your best bet to doing this. And we may not be able to find time because I will be traveling. So, but here we have a full moon in your 9th house, Aries. So in the 9th house, foreign people, foreign places, foreign countries, higher education, mentors, spiritual gurus, spiritual teachings, learnings, right? These are things that you've already had going on, most likely, and now you're ready to bring them to completion. And because Saturn is in your 1st house, you are the expert. You are the one that may be providing what's needed, let's say for this class of foreign students, to complete this course of study. So you are the mentor. Saturn's in your sign, and you are the one that helps this group of foreigners, or you're the one that comes up with the idea to finish your thesis, or whatever the work is. It's you. You are the expert. You have the rules. You have the discipline needed to bring this to a close. So again, if you've been studying abroad, then you're figuring out what you need to do to get yourself back home. If you've been taking your master's, then you're doing the work to finish it and finish your degree. Whatever it is, you will be extremely disciplined, and your discipline will be needed in order to finish whatever this ends up being for you. So that is what you can do in each of these cases, because obviously not everybody has Saturn and Aries in their 1st house, but everybody has Saturn and Aries somewhere, and that's where you're getting guided to help you complete this goal that you have for yourself. So let's move ahead to Taurus. So Taurus, this is a full moon in your 8th house. So the 8th house is all about death, rebirth, transformation. It can be money that you've been waiting on, an investment, a loan, tax refund. There's something that you've been waiting on. And when that something comes in, then you will be able to change something in your life through the money that you gain. Because the 8th house is about finishing something, and maybe it's a transformation of your home or your finances. Whatever it is, there's a mentor, there is an expert that's going to help you conclude this goal that you have for yourself and help you get the money that you need so that you can bring whatever your dream is to a reality at this time. And because it's 8th house, it changes everything that you had in mind for yourself. And that can be good. Then we have Gemini. So Gemini, of course, you are the sign that opposes Sagittarius. So that makes this a full moon in your 7th house. And of course, the sun is shining a light from your own self onto the 7th house. So this is where you're completing goals related to marriage, related to business partnerships, related to contracts. This is the end of whatever goal you set for yourself 6 months ago that involves other people, because of course the 7th house is the house that rules over others. They're usually people that we have in our lives for a very long time. That's why it's the house that rules over our commitments. So there is something that you are ready to commit to, maybe. So maybe some of you are getting married on this day. And maybe some of you are just meeting that person through introduction of a friend that will end up being a long-term relationship for you. And if this is a marriage that you're in that isn't working for you any longer, well, then you just might be meeting a divorce attorney today that's going to help you get out of it. But it would be the best thing for everyone involved if that's the case, because this Jupiterian energy isn't about inflicting pain and sorrow on one another. It's just maybe that you've outgrown each other and it's time to move on. So, of course, whatever's meant for you is, you already know the answer to what's going on in your serious relationships. Are they ending, or are you getting to the next level? As we move on into the sign of Cancer, Cancers, this is happening in your 6th house of the work that you do. So is this the time where you're finally getting the big job? The one that maybe has you traveling a lot, because this is the sign of Sagittarius, which is about fun and adventure and going to foreign countries or moving around a lot, because an arrow is always moving ahead. That's what the sign of Sagittarius says. So in your day-to-day life, there is a goal that you set for yourself, a pretty big goal that is being achieved at this time. And if it's not work, it could be health. It could be you volunteering in a foreign country and being able to do that because all the paperwork finally came through that will allow you to have that happen for yourself. Some of you may be relocating to a foreign country because of the big opportunity that this job presents for you. But there's big growth coming in your day-to-day life, and there is some older person or mentor who's reaching out to help make this happen for you. And then we have Leos, another fellow fire sign, and this is a full moon that happens in your 5th house, which of course is the Leo energy of love and joy and romance and creativity. So there is something that's coming to completion, coming to fullness. Maybe you have been looking for love and suddenly that's coming for you, or maybe you have a big creative project that you have been working on and happily it will come to completion. Maybe there's a teacher or mentor that's going to be needed to help you with all the instructions in order to get this completed. But whatever it is, your heart is really full and happy and joyful as a result of this coming to an end. So I think it's a happy ending for you, Leos. You have to let me know what your project ends up looking like. And then we have Virgos, and this is happening for you in your 4th house of home and family. So some of you could be moving to a foreign country. Maybe you're moving back from a foreign country. This could be an expansion because Jupiter expands on whatever it touches of home, of family that is going on. This could be some of you that are taking in a foreign exchange student, for instance. So you'd be adding on to your family and it would be with a foreigner. And that would be one way that that could happen. Or you've been dating somebody from a foreign country and they finally have all of the paperwork cleared because of Saturn's help. And now they are able to join you and move into your home. And of course, then this grows and expands your family. So there's a joyful opportunity that affects your living conditions. And some of you may be moving to just a bigger home as a result of an older person gifting you some money that then allows you to expand your family in some way, Virgos. All right. Next, we have Libras. So, Libra, this is happening for you in your third house. So, the third house is all about knowledge, it's communication, it can be transportation, it's the community that you're a part of, it can be school age friends, it can be your siblings, it can be cousins. So, there's something that is coming to a close now that has everything to do with the community that you are a part of. Now, some of you could be purchasing a foreign vehicle with the help of that Sagittarius energy in your third house of transportation. And others are maybe concluding a course of study. Could be about foreign languages, foreign countries, or it could just be you getting something like your PhD and maybe not getting it yet, but getting all the details and all the information that you need in order to complete it or complete signing up for it in some way or another. Now remember, whatever you need to do, there's this older expert out there that is coming through to help you figure out how to complete this paperwork that is so important to your future and where you're headed. And then we have Scorpios. And Scorpio, this is going to be happening in your second house of the money you make. So this is a time where you can be bringing the job that you're doing to an end, your choice, right? Because Saturn in Aries means it's your choice, but there is somebody who would be helping you set up your own business. So going forward, you're working for yourself, and that feels a lot more fun and exciting. It feels like an adventure. It feels like you have more growth opportunity than you have at the current job that you're in. Now, for others, you're staying where you're at, but you're getting new opportunities, new responsibilities, and you're taking a big step up. And who knows, maybe you're getting transferred to a foreign country where you'll have much more responsibility and power that you will love to have made available to you at this time. But it could be an old mentor that's calling you forward on this new path that could surprise you when they reach out with this opportunity. But there is definitely financial goals for you that are coming to fullness and completion that you should be pretty happy about, Scorpios. And then, of course, Sagittarius, this is your full moon. It's in your house. This is a personal goal that you have for yourself. So, you're always on the go. You love travel. You love knowledge. What of those things have been your goals for the past 6 months? And what are you ready to bring to fullness and completion? This could be how people see you. They could be seeing you now as a PhD or a doctor because you're completing your education goals. They could be seeing you as somebody who is just traveling the world, heading off on a big adventure, or maybe you've already been doing those things and now you're done with the adventure and ready to settle in and be back home. But again, whatever this is for you, it's a very personal journey that you have been on. And with that Saturn energy in your fifth house of children, it could be something about children that have been a goal for you, or it also could be, anything related to the heart, a creative project that somebody is helping you complete. And then whatever that project is, people will know you for it going forward. But it's your time to shine, Sagittarius, so go big. And then we have Capricorns. Capricorn, this is in your 12th house. So the 12th house can speak to things that involve large organizations, hospitals, schools, universities, right? Because I'm thinking about that Sagittarius element. Again, a foreign country. So 12th house is far away places. And so if you've been working on something in any of those areas, then it's ready to come to a conclusion in some way at this time. Now, 12th house is also things that are hidden. It can be the subconscious mind. So there can be breakthroughs that you can be experiencing at this time that, could break you free from a large institution that is squashing your ability to grow and expand in your current role. And so we just remember that Saturn energy is actually helping you from the home front. So you could have an older family member that is stepping up to help you end whatever this is that is trapping you, instead of allowing you to go enjoy, right, that Sagittarius opportunity. So somebody in the family, an older, wiser person, is stepping up to help you break free and help you end whatever this is for you once and for all. Next, we have Aquarius. So Aquarius, this is happening in your 11th house of friends, networking groups, the internet. This is projects that you've been working on with your work friends that are ready to come to completion. This can be a friend that you know from another country or from working with them in another country, and there's something that you guys have been collaborating on and you're ready to bring that to completion. This is the chance to travel with friends and take a trip to a foreign country. That's a possibility. And then you even have mentors, because 11th house, I like to call your fairy godparent energy, that are giving you some kind of a big grand gift that you will use to potentially make a difference in the world. So you have a really big opportunity that you want to make sure you show your appreciation for, because this, of course, Saturn energy is in your 3rd house, and that is, again, a leader in your community that is going to guide you on how to complete whatever this is that's showing up for you. So it definitely has something to do with work. There is somebody who's got all the rules that you need to follow in order to complete what this is, but you're going to be a big deal and you're going to be very successful, Aquarius. And rounding out the group, of course, we have Pisces, and this is happening for you in your 10th house of career. So there is something that you're completing, and it's going to open a big opportunity for you. So there's a huge growth opportunity for you. This is about growing and expanding your career. So you're likely taking on more responsibility. There could be travel involved with this new opportunity. Again, you're another one that could have some kind of connection to a foreign country in this new role. It could be a connection to education resources. Maybe you're going to be working for a university of some type. So whatever this is, you're not going to be able to play small going forward. And for some, if you still feel stuck and trapped and like you can't do anything but play small, then you'll walk away from that career and go do something else. And chances are there's an old mentor, leader that has that job opportunity for you, and they'll be reaching out and telling you what you need to do in order to make a big change. All right, just some of the possibilities. all of this depends, of course, on where this is in your chart, which can be different than when I use whole sign houses, and what personal planets do you have in your chart at 9 degrees. Of course, 9 degrees of Sagittarius, you'll feel the biggest impact. 9 degrees somewhere else, whatever that connection is, it will affect this conclusion, this ending in one way or another. So let me know in the comments what's coming up for you. Let me know if you have any questions about this full moon and what to expect. And leave me a like and follow me for more future insights. And I can just tell you, my insights for the summer is it's huge changes that are coming in. And we're going to get previews of even bigger changes coming in 2027 over the summer. So I'm going to have upcoming articles. So again, make sure you're a member of my website, because out there, you're going to have all of the June content already, the new moons and the full moons, the July content for the month, and the new moons and full moons, and then in process, because there's so much going on. I have so many articles that are in draft form right now. I've got the movement of Chiron into Taurus, which we haven't seen since the 70s. And the economy was pretty challenged back in the 70s, but there was a little more going on back then. And we'll talk about that in some of the videos too, because there's only so much you can put in an article, but that's coming up. Then we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Leo, which we haven't seen since 2014. And at the end of July, we have the nodes changing signs and all of the retrogrades starting this summer with Saturn and Neptune. And as I mentioned earlier, that Mercury retrograde over the same footsteps that Jupiter took. So much is going on, so much that we need to, join with and shift and change. And this week's a good week to start to feel some of those shifts and change taking hold. So, end the things. Whenever we get to full moon energies, whatever we're hanging on to, whatever's holding us back, you can't do that with the energy and changes that are coming through this summer. It's the fire horse year. You are galloping forward at this point, and there's no looking back, and there's no slowing down. You got to show up and finish the race. And it's a pretty intense race. So I'm here to guide you and help you along your journey. Take advantage of all the free resources that I have out there for you and enjoy the ride. All right, guys. I hope you have an amazing week ahead. I hope this is a beautiful full moon for you and you're really happy with your outcomes. And I'll be here to talk to you about it next week. Take care.